Today we begin a new series. We're calling this one Modern Faith, Ancient Roots. As I mentioned, I want to talk a bit about the vision of Awaken and how the vision of Awaken is a vision that is rooted in 2,000 plus years of history. We'll talk a bit about that, and this one is titled Where It All Starts. Figure when you have a new series talking about the vision, it's a good title, Where It All Starts. Now, let me give you a bit of a background here. 2017, we revised the vision of Awaken. So Awaken began back in, you could say 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere within there, depending on which version of Awaken you want to talk about. The apartment version versus the public service, public meeting service version of Awaken. And we had this vision. Then a couple of years into it, we realized it was a bit clunky. It wasn't really connecting the way in which we had hoped that it would connect with people. We went back to the drawing board, 2017, in order to make the vision as simple as possible so that it could be very, very clear so that anyone hearing it would know exactly what we are up to. The vision gives a bit about the purpose behind why we gather. So why do we gather here together on a Sunday morning? When we say, hey, I'm going out to church on Sunday, or when we ask, hey, will I see you next week at church? Well, what's the purpose behind why we do what we do? Or what's the intention behind what we're doing? As we're sitting here in seats, well, why are you all sitting here in seats this morning? There's a reason, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You'd be doing something else. So you're choosing to be here. But I want to talk about that intention behind what you're doing as you sit in a seat each Sunday morning. And then also within the vision, I want to talk about, well, what defines us as a church? We say we're a church. Well, then what does it mean to be a church? And I've done many series on this one. Well, the church isn't the building. You can meet in a movie theater. You can meet in a so-called church building. You can meet in a school. Church can meet anywhere. Church could be in Debbie's living room on Wednesdays, because church is the community of people that have gathered together for a purpose, for a very specific intention. So we'll talk all about that over these next 4 weeks. And let's start, because that's the title of the sermon, Where It All Starts. Let's start with the main overarching vision of Awaken. Awaken exists to create followers of Jesus. As I said, in 2017, we wanted to get very, very clear about what we're doing. You can't get much clearer than that. We gather together. We are here Sunday after Sunday. We come out on Wednesday. We go to women's gatherings. We do all these things because we want to create followers of Jesus. But of course, that raises questions like, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? How do we do it? Now, let me give you a verse that gave us the idea for this vision. It's in Matthew 28. Chances are many of you have heard these verses before. This is known as the Great Commission. And this is at the end of Jesus' life here on earth. Jesus has been resurrected. Now he's meeting with his followers, his disciples, those who have traveled with him, his closest friends. And he's leaving them with, these are his final parting words. Here's his commission, his charge to them. He's saying, I'm about to leave, but this mission that I started, it will now continue through you. And as I leave you, here's what I want your lives to be about. And so he said to his disciples, his closest followers, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. I'm now passing it along to you. So therefore, go and make disciples. Another word, we could say make followers of all nations, all people, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, everything that I've taught. Well, now you're to pass it on. This way of living that you've been witnessing now for 3 years, what you have seen embodied within me, what I've been teaching you, it's not to stay with you, but you're to now pass it on in order to create more followers of this path, to create more followers of Jesus. And so when we talk about a church, at the heart of what church is doing, what a church is to be about, is we're creating followers of Jesus. So ourselves, we're learning, what does it mean for me personally to follow Jesus? What's the next step for me to take on that journey, on that path? But then again, what I'm learning, what's happening within me, how God is changing and transforming me, it's not to just be simply for myself, but I'm now to go and pass that on to others that I meet. I am now to go and, we could say, train, equip, teach others to follow the path of Jesus. So in one sense, church is sort of like, it's like a gym. My one friend, he says, what he calls his slogan for his church is a gym for your soul. I love it. We're training, we're practicing, we're learning, we're fatiguing our muscles, but then we're also being equipped so now we can go out into the world and help others see this life that we have found in Christ. So what happens here, it's not simply just to end here when you walk out the doors on a Sunday, but it's just to be an impetus. It's to continue living in a particular way. And then I love how Jesus ends. He says, I'm sending you out to go and do this, but you're not going to be left on your own. For I'm with you always. My presence that encourages, that loves, that transforms, it shall always be with you to the very end of the age. Wherever you go, wherever your feet happen to tread, you will not be alone. And Jesus talked about the Spirit that travels with us. So wherever we go, we have the divine Spirit that travels with us. So when I think about this vision of creating followers of Jesus, for me, this is where it starts. This commission, this charge that Jesus gave his first followers. And as we'll see in a few moments here, this is very, very important. Now, when Jesus was beginning his ministry, because again, disciples, it's not a word that we use too often. Followers is a word that we understand quite a bit in our modern culture. So when Jesus first started gathering followers, when he began his public ministry, here's how he started gathering followers. He didn't create reels or stories on Instagram. Instead, he walked amongst people. He did this in real life. Jesus was walking. He had no followers at this point. He was simply walking by himself. He knew that there was something God wanted him to do, desired, was commissioning him to do in the world. And in order to go and accomplish this, Jesus needed other people. He couldn't do it all on his own. He said, I need others because eventually I will leave, and they shall carry out this mission. So as he was walking beside the Sea of Galilee by himself, he saw two brothers. Simon called Peter, his brother Andrew. They were fishing, casting a net into the lake because they were fishermen. And Jesus said, here's the invitation. Come follow me. Be my follower. Be my disciple. Come and learn from me. This invitation that Jesus offered to two brothers 2,000 years ago is the same invitation that is being offered to every single one of us. It's as if Jesus is walking around whispering, follow me. I have something to show you. There's a way of living, and I want to offer that way of living to you. And so what did they do? At once, they dropped their nets and they followed Jesus. I'm sure they were apprehensive. I'm sure they had no idea what they were getting themselves into. I mean, just think about it. If you ever had Facebook, you had one follower in the beginning, or one friend, I guess it was, Mark Zuckerberg. But then remember the next friend that you got, probably one of your closest friends. And then from there, it kind of snowballed out, and you gathered more friends. This is Jesus starting to collect friends, starting to collect followers. So in the beginning, you're kind of like if you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, I don't know, whatever, TikTok, whatever you happen to be on X, whatever it happens to be, sometimes you look at how many followers someone has. You're like, they have 2 followers? I don't know. I'm not going to start following them yet. Let me wait until the crowd gets a little bit bigger. These would have been the first followers who took a chance on Jesus. Jesus had not gathered a crowd at this point, but yet they were willing to take a chance to leave their lives behind in order to accept the invitation to follow Jesus. This is what Jesus has been looking for from the very beginning. Followers. Now, this invitation to follow me is everywhere all around us. There are people, there are ideas, there are products, companies. Wherever we look, there are people, objects that are trying to capture our attention and to create followers of themselves. We have this term in the modern world, maybe you've heard of it before, influencers. This is actually a job. You can just, instead of being a teacher or working at your local ShopRite, being a lawyer, you can be an influencer. You can make videos and you can influence other people. I found 2 definitions of influencers. An influencer is one who exerts influence, a person who inspires or guides the actions of others. We have people, their entire job, they are paid to inspire and to guide the actions of other people. In order to sell shampoo or soap, whatever product it happens to be, they make videos trying to create followers. Here's another definition. Their influence, talking about influencers, it extends beyond just promoting products. And here's what I find really interesting. Influencers shape trends. Maybe the clothing that you're wearing this morning has been shaped by an influencer. Someone who has many followers, and because they said, hey, big baggy jeans are in style, well, now all of a sudden, big baggy jeans are in style. Influencers shape trends, and they engage vast audiences worldwide. Let me introduce you to 2 modern-day influencers. Let's see if you can guess who these people are. According to Forbes, 2024, this year, who is the highest paid influencer? Any guesses? Mr. Beast, yes. Who knows Mr. Beast? There he is right there. Now, have you watched some of his videos? All right, well, so what is it interesting about Mr. Beast? Why do you watch some of his videos? They're funny. Any idea how much Mr. Beast makes being an influencer on a given year? 2 million? Try a little higher. $82 million, and Debbie still doesn't know who he is. Now, I had heard about Mr. Beast a couple of months ago. My friend told me about him, but I hadn't watched any of his videos until this week, because I had to figure out, when I heard he was making this much, creating videos, like, who is this guy? What is he about? Mr. Beast makes these videos. They're funny. And in the middle of a video, they're about, I don't know, he has some, I guess, that are longer, some that are shorter. But in the middle of a video, he might be, so I watched one where he's in a cave. Have you seen this one? He's down in some cave trying to survive for about a week or so, and he has a crew with him, and they're like, we're going to live in a cave for a week, and we're going to videotape this thing. So he has videos like this. He was in some nuclear chamber for a month or something like that. Well, as he's there with his radioactive suit on, he's holding a bottle, and he's drinking something. And right in the middle of this 20-minute, 30-minute video, he just pauses what he's doing, what he's talking about, and he says, hey, make sure you get a sip, or make sure you go out and buy a bottle of this product. I don't know what it was. I had never heard of it before. But that company whose product he was holding and advertising for pays him some crazy amount of money, because they know that in every single video that he creates, millions of people will be watching it. And so if Mr. Beast endorses this product, well, now I have to go out and buy this product myself. That's how he makes $82 million a year, simply by holding up a bottle of water, drinking it, and saying, hey, everyone, go out and buy this. Here's another influencer. Who knows who this is? The Rock. Now, he does promote Voss water, and this is a post of him promoting Voss water and talking about it. Any idea on average how much The Rock makes per post? per post on average. Little less than that. Just shy of $2.5 million. Hey, Voss, on the rock, go buy Voss water. Hey, can I have my check? I wish it worked that way. Now, here's the number of people that Mr. Beast and The Rock have following them. They're paid so much because they have this number of followers. Mr. Beast, 314 million YouTube followers. The Rock, 397 million followers. I don't know if it's Instagram. I don't know where it is. They have this many people that are following them because they are influencers. They have followers. They have shouted out, come follow me, come learn from me, come pay attention to my life. And people have accepted the invitation. They started following these people to watch their videos, to see their posts, to see what they're talking about. Now, why would any of us follow these influencers? Why would we follow Mr. Beast or The Rock? And why would we buy the products that they are endorsing? Because there's some level of trust that we have with the person that we're following. See, we're all following someone. Maybe you're not following Mr. Beast or The Rock, but we're all following someone. We're following ideas. And the reason why we follow these people is because there's a level of trust that we have for them. They have talked about something. They have endorsed a product. We have tried it. We've tried living the way in which these people are trying to teach us to live. And something happened within us. There's this longing that we have for what they have. So when The Rock talks about Voss water, we say, wow, I wish I was as jacked as The Rock. Maybe if I drink Voss water, I could be as cool or as jacked as The Rock. There's a longing that we have for what these teachers, these influencers are promoting. They promote something. They look suave and cool and professional. And we think, well, if I have the thing that they're promoting, I could be just like them. There's this desire that we have to be like the people that we're following. I want the life that they have. When Jesus comes on the scene and he's saying, come follow me, essentially he's doing the same thing. Now the first disciples, they're taking a risk because they don't know anything about Jesus. But when Jesus is saying, come and follow me, he's offering these disciples a particular way to live life. He's saying, if you follow me, well, there's a certain type of life that you will find. If you follow me and you drink this Voss water, well, then all the longings of your heart shall be satisfied and fulfilled. These invitations that we have all over to follow, there's a promise about what you will discover, what you will find if you follow this teacher, influencer, this idea, if you buy this product. So when Jesus says, make disciples, or when he offers this invitation to come follow me, what is the promise of Jesus? We talk here at Awaken to create followers of Jesus. Well, what's the promise? What are we saying that you will discover if you begin or continue walking the path of Jesus? Let's turn to John chapter 14, verse 6. Here's another verse that many of us have probably heard before. Jesus answered, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. I think this encapsulates the promise of Jesus. Let's look at these three words, way, truth, and life. In order to look at them, we have to go to the Greek, which Ted told everyone that I love talking about Greek. You talk about Old English, right? So this isn't Old English. We're going further back than Old English. We're going Greek. Now the word way, it's the Greek word hodos, and it means a road or a path. Jesus says, I am the road. I am the path. How many of you use Google Maps or Apple Maps or any iteration of that? Everyone, Atlas. Now, whenever you plug in the address, the place that you want to go to, normally it has a couple different options. You ever notice this? They give you the best route, but then you can choose different routes if you so desire. You can find one that has no tolls, or if you like backcountry roads, you say, I don't want highways. I'm in no rush. I want the scenic route. Yeah, I know it's 30 miles longer. It's going to take me another half an hour, but at least there's going to be beauty surrounding me. We choose the path that we walk in life. The people that we follow, the influencers, the teachers that we place our trust in, that we look to for wisdom, for guidance, well, that determines the path that we walk in life. When Jesus says, I am the way, I am the road, I am the path, he's saying, if you walk the road that I'm walking, if you follow my teachings, if you set your life up in a way in which I am teaching and talking about, well, then I promise something will happen within you. Jesus is saying, I know there's lots of other routes that you could be taking. You could go and take the speed one, take the highway, and you'll get there quicker. But I have another road for you. And Jesus is saying, I want to invite you to walk this road, this particular road with me. Whenever you choose a path, you're now saying no to all those other paths because you can't travel two roads at the same time. You can try it. It's not going to work very well. And so when Jesus is saying, I'm the road, he's saying, I know there's lots of other options. I know there's many other people that you can follow, many other ways of living, but I want to offer you one way of being in the world. And then Jesus says, I am the truth, the Greek word aletheia. Now this word aletheia, it is speaking about reality. Oh, there we go. It is speaking about reality. And this word aletheia, what I find really interesting about it, it's not merely spoken truth. So think about a math equation. A math equation, you could say 2 plus 2 equals 4. That's like spoken truth because you don't really feel that in your soul. It doesn't do anything for you here. Maybe for some of you, if you're math people, maybe it does, all right? But for the majority of us, 2 plus 2 is not going to motivate you to go out and love your neighbor. Just saying. So when Jesus uses this word aletheia, he's talking about embodied truth, a truth that you can experience. And this word is talking about the opposite of illusion. And we've talked about this many times here at Awaken, but there are many so-called truths that set themselves up as the truth, but in reality, they're just an illusion. And you find out that they're hollow. And this promise, this truth that's being spoken to you, that's begging you to believe and accept it, you live into it and you realize, well, it's actually not giving me the thing that it's promising. So when Jesus says, I am the truth, he's saying, I am reality. And then he says, I am the life. Now, the word that Jesus uses for life is this word, the Greek word zoe. Now, there's two words in Greek that can be translated for our English life. You have zoe life, and then you have psyche. Psyche is that which is tangible, that which you can feel, that which is right there in front of you. But then you have the zoe life, which just like aletheia, just like the truth that Jesus was talking about, zoe life is existence itself. It's deeper than what you can touch. It's deeper than what's right there in front of you. Here's a way to illustrate this. And I got this from the author Shane Hips. What is this? It's a sunset, sunrise. Now, what's the difference between looking at a picture of a sunrise, sunset, and actually being there, seeing it in real time? I can show you a picture of it, but do you really feel like you've experienced the beauty of this sunset? This is psyche. This is psyche life. You can see it, but then it's something completely different to be sitting on a beach and to experience the beauty of a sunset with you right there watching that sun go down, putting your sunglasses on because you have that sun glare. And we can look at this picture. We don't have to worry about sunglasses. This is psyche. When Jesus says, I am the life, he's talking about existence itself. So what's the promise that Jesus is making? According to this verse, here's another way we could translate this verse. This is my translation. If you follow my path, if you follow my way of being, you will find a deeply fulfilling, satisfying, peace-giving life that connects you with that which is real and true. Who wants to sign up for this way of living? Does this sound appealing? So when Jesus says, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, this is, if you follow me, if you walk this road and forsake all the other roads, well, I promise you that you will find reality. You'll find a way of living that brings peace and healing and hope and salvation to your very soul. Now, as in the time of Jesus, as today, there are many teachers or paths to follow promising the same thing, because a lot of people promise this. Let me introduce you to an ancient influencer, Caesar Augustus. Now, here's what was said about Augustus. Oh, savior of the world, Augustus. This sounds similar. What title was given to Jesus, or one of his many titles? Savior of the world. Now you have a competing claim. Here's what was said about Augustus. Upon you, Augustus, while still among us, we already bestow honors. We set up altars to swear by your name and confess that nothing like you, Caesar Augustus, will arise or has arisen before you. Sounds very similar to what the first followers of Jesus said about Jesus. Oh, Jesus, we place our trust in you. We worship you. Another competing claim. Here we go. Imperator Caesar, Son of God. Another title given to Jesus? Son of God. Following the victory in the war which he, Caesar, waged after peace had been secured on land and sea. It said that Jesus brought peace, but it was also said at the same time that Caesar was the one who had brought peace to the world. We have these competing claims, these competing roads to walk. People were looking to Caesar for salvation. They were placing their trust in Caesar. They were putting all their hope, as we just read, in Caesar and what he could produce. So a question for us. Let's see. Whose way of life are we following today, 2,000 years later? Caesar or Jesus? We don't have churches worshiping Caesar, but 2,000 years later, we do have churches worshiping Jesus. We have churches that gather, communities that gather together in order to follow the way of Jesus, but we don't have communities that gather together to follow the way of Caesar. But yet, if you look at Caesar and his influence, you see the purple? That's how much influence Caesar had. All throughout the purple. And he was a master marketer. And so anywhere within the Roman Empire, wherever the purple was, there would be icons, images, statues, there'd be coins that would be passed around to remind you of this narrative of Caesar as the Savior, Son of God, the one who had brought peace. You know how much influence Jesus had? Right here. Right here. Caesar. Images flooding all the lands here. Jesus is right here. Who are we still talking about 2,000 years later? Caesar had a bigger following than Jesus. The top Instagram influencers have larger numbers of followers than Jesus had when he was alive. Yet here we are 2,000 years later still talking about Jesus. Why? If you follow my path, you follow my way of being, you'll find a deeply fulfilling, satisfying, peace-giving life that connects you with that which is real and true. Why are we still following Jesus 2,000 years later? Because people have found this claim to be true. People found the experience, the Zoe life that Jesus was promising. We gather here together to create followers of Jesus because in Jesus, for 2,000 years, people have found no hidden motives. You know, sometimes with those influencers, you begin to wonder, are they really drinking the water that they're selling? Or are they promoting this water because they're getting paid for it? But in Jesus, people have found pure love and acceptance. For 2,000 years in the person of Jesus, people have found peace. They found healing. In the path of Jesus, people have been able to move beyond their unforgiveness and have found the power, the ability to forgive. By following Jesus, by trusting Jesus, the path of Jesus, his words, people have found a sense of belonging, as many of you have found here at Awaken. By following Jesus, people have found for 2,000 years that giving, sacrificing, is better than hoarding all things for yourself. They found strength for difficult, challenging times that we all go through. Through the person of Jesus, for 2,000 years, people have found this divine presence that is with and for each one of us. This divine presence which holds this fragile existence together. I am reality. I'm the life. I'm the existence. I am that which holds all things together. We gather here 2,000 years later still talking about Jesus because people have found his claims to be true. Caesar has fallen by the wayside. All the claims made about Caesar, people have forgotten about. But the claims about Jesus still ring true today. And that's why we gather. That's why millions of people around the world will gather in churches throughout the week, because there's something about the person of Jesus that changes and transforms and brings healing and hope and salvation to the world. You have experienced this in your life. You're longing for more of it in your life. That's why you're here. And that's why at Awaken, our vision is to create followers of Jesus. And I said we'd come back to that verse in Matthew 28. What happened was when people found this way of living to be true, they realized that they couldn't contain it. And here's how the message of Jesus spread. All throughout the Roman Empire. Through people. People just like you. As your life is transformed and changed, as you meet the resurrected Christ, you realize this way of living, that which you have found, it can't stay with just you, but it naturally flows from you to the people that you meet and interact with every single week. So for us at Awaken, our vision will always be our vision: create followers of Jesus. It's simple, it's profound, and there's something about this path that we have experienced, and we want others to experience that as well. Now, what we're going to do as we close here, we're going to celebrate communion, Eucharist, the reminder of the good gift of Jesus that centers this community, that will always center this community. It's the reason why we gather. It's the reason why we meet. Jesus will always be at the center, so we can keep experiencing the hope, the love, and the healing of Jesus.